Good morning, gorgeous ones. How are we all this morning? Tuesday here at Real Life Medicine, and I am drinking my very big cup of black coffee. So, black coffee started for me when I decided to do some fasting, really around autophagy. So, two types of fasting that we can do. We can do, well, not two types, but there's fasting to lower your insulin, and there's fasting for autophagy. Autophagy, which for about 2 years I pronounced as autophagy. Autophagy is literally translates to your body eating itself, which sounds highly undesirable, except what it actually means is it's really your body recycling. So we, as humans, can't really store protein. We can store carbohydrates in our liver and muscles as glycogen, and we can clearly store fat as fat. Hello, Annette. But we can't really store protein. So when we need protein, which we do, our body uses buckets of protein every day in all of its functions, in building muscle, building connective tissue, enzymes, a lot of hormones, lots of things require protein. So if we haven't had any for a while, it's a long-winded chat, if we haven't had any protein for a while, then our body goes, right, well, I need to make some enzymes. Where am I going to get the ingredients? And the ingredients are basically amino acids. So amino acids joined together are your proteins. So it'll go scavenging and it goes, right, where's some, I don't know if it actually talks like this, but I'm sure mine does. Where's some old manky sort of proteins that probably need recycling or reusing that I can gobble up? And so it does, it finds the ones that are looking a bit shabby, that may be a bit damaged, that are probably due for renewal, and it deconstructs, pulls out the main ingredients and recycles and reuses them. So this is an incredibly powerful effect on our body that is normal, except that we don't do it that much in our current age because we eat all the time, because we've been encouraged to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, morning tea, afternoon tea, and for some of us, supper or a snack on the couch. If we have some time restricted eating, then that gives our body the chance to do some autophagy. Now, it doesn't need truckloads. Like, let's, it's a bit like, not that I'm an advocate of cleaning my house. I'm not actually very good at that. But if you were to do a little bit of tidying every day, then you don't need to have your giant tidy. If you were to declutter a little bit every day, then you don't need to have a giant spring clean and throw out and get a skip in and do all the things. I actually realised that I need to do some autophagy on my house, because we do that technique. We go, and we just wait till the end and then get a skip and then get in this whole saga that takes 3 days. However, so with fasting, and look, studies are a little relaxed on this, but after about 12, 14 hours, your body goes, right, well, I need to now find some proteins. So it will start then. Good morning, Clara. And, you maybe only need to do 2 hours a day. That's like your spring clean. And that will then, so the benefits of all of this, of recycling your old proteins, are, one, there's some talk about it improving skin, loose skin. I haven't seen a lot of that, I'm going to say. I'm going to be a bit controversial there and say I'm not sure that that's completely true. I think it depends on many other things, such as your age, your underlying skin elasticity, your the amount of weight that you've actually lost. So there's a whole heap of things, and you can't just sort of promote fasting as a panacea for that. But that aside, we know that fasting is very good for inflammation and reducing inflammatory load. We know that it's very good for anti-aging and anti-cancer, because it does recycle old proteins, and often that's what cancers start off as. The other benefits are that fasting induces a ketotic state, which for many of us who spend time in the low-carb world know that difference. Know that when your brain is working on ketones, you can have that beautiful mental clarity. That's part of the reason I like it. But know that it's not the only thing that we can do. So if you're doing fasting for autophagy, eating any any scrap of protein that passes your lips will stop it. So this is why I started the black coffee, because whilst I love cream in my coffee, it stops autophagy. It doesn't cause an insulin rise really, especially if you just have a little bit. So if you're just wanting to fast to reduce your insulin, that's fine. If you have if you have many creamy coffees a day, then the energy component of that cream needs to be counted as if you're counting macros. So sometimes people wonder why they're not losing weight, and it may be that they're just overdoing the fat component. So for me, it took a while. I started with cold coffee. It's a much more palatable way to introduce black coffee. And you can either just pour some, if you've got a machine or a pod, you just do that, pour it over ice, top it up with cold water. It's like a whole different drink. And then you can work on to ghee and coffee. Ghee still has, it's not a pure it does have some proteins in it. So somebody's just asked on the chat, what about ghee and coffee? And look, if you were to have absolute pure ghee, then that doesn't have any proteins in it. But the way we make ghee is to clarify the butter and strain it. And so there often still is a little bit in there. So I would say, again, if you're really wanting to do autophagy, just transition to black. It's entirely doable. I never thought I would be that. I was always Lucy loves lattes, and now I'm Lucy loves black coffee. Once you have black, you'll never go back. Well, it's harder, Annette, because I still do love a creamy coffee. Like I'm not, and I will still have sometimes a creamy coffee later in the day, but then I have to have decaf because otherwise I'm wired and awake all night. So again, part of Real Life Medicine's mantra is that you have to know yourself well. Weight loss is a personal development program. It is a constant series of experiments on working out what works for you, and then, managing your mind around sticking to that. All right, lovelies, have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, darlings.